Good morning. It's April 30. Oh my Lord. The American college system is in distress as the anti-Semitic crowd is moved in on the premier institutions in our country. And the police and the campus, it's a real mess. And it's a real mess because the American educational system that I grew up with, and my 30-year-old kids grew up with, has changed. You don't see flags in every classroom anymore. We used to all stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance to America for which it stands. All that went out the window about 20 years ago. Well, guess what? 20 years later, look what you got. You've got, and these university presidents, they're just, they're all afraid of the liberal left, and that's a real problem. That's how Nazi Germany started. Oh, the liberals, and they just snuck up on them, and boom. No more democracy. No more elections. Hitler was in charge, and that was the beginning of World War, which became World War II when we got involved with Pearl Harbor. Japan thought they could sneak up on us and by giving us a major defeat in the Pacific. Maybe that'd be the end of this. Well, it was close. Very close. So now we've got, looking over here on Not So Live TV, the Jewish students being interviewed. Can you imagine paying $95,000 per academic year? Room and board and everything. And your kid can't get to class. Your kid's told, stay home. Stay home? What do you mean stay home? Oh my God. Just imagine. Let's do a little fast calculation. Oh God. Let's just say 9 times 22. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. In an academic year, there's roughly 200 days in an academic year. So take 95,000, divide that by 200. There you go. What do you mean stay home? It costs me $475 a day for Johnny to go to school. And you're going to tell him to stay home? Fine. Send me a check for $475 for every day that he has to stay home. Now, if every parent, not to mention the insult, that that these students are feeling because they can't go to school. Oh yeah, go. You know, they live in a dormitory, which are buildings. This whole, Columbia, let's just say downtown Manhattan, which is already a war zone because you got all these illegal aliens laying all over the streets. Now you got Israeli agitators laying all over the campuses. I mean, it's like, the lack of law and order, the lack of respect for authority, all this, it's really not complicated business, but it all adds up to serious business. It all adds up to serious business. Costs a lot of money. Florida loses $12 billion in year one of the anti-immigration law. $12 billion a year. It's a lot of dollars. Pro-Palestinian take over Colombia. Here's the news flash. Just came down to my. Not too sure how to get to it. Yeah. Crazy. And turn on closed caption here. Since we can't hear it, maybe we can read it. Yeah. Elon Musk is saying if you're not spending $10 billion on AI this year, like Tesla, you won't be able to compete. I agree with that. There you go. College protests. Police crack down. Make hundreds of arrests. Beverly Hills Police. It's everywhere. Well, it's all a big coordinated effort. Who's coordinating it? Who's paying for it? Who's paying for all the tents? I would arrest these people. I'd rip their masks off their face, show their faces to the world, locked in handcuffs, arms behind. Forget the mask. Are you kidding me? Masks? Are you kidding? They're not going to do all this anonymously. Oh, you're supposed to respect our... baloney. Ukraine retreats in the east as Russia pushes forward. Well, it waits for U.S. aid. Kidding me? So Elon Musk goes over there, meets with some Chinese people, and gets the Chinese officials to approve full self-driving in China. Oh my God. They've got 1.5 billion people. Their middle class is the size of our whole country. It's bigger. They get 500 million in the middle class. We've got 300 million for the whole country, including dirtbags. These are the 10 cheapest car brands to maintain. Well, I can tell you, we owned a Tesla, or I should say leased a Tesla. Title was not in our name, but we had exclusive use of the car. So we pay for the exclusive use, which is called, we pay for the depreciation. And we pay the money cost to essentially acquire the car but not have title. But we have exclusive use. That is the cheapest way to drive a car. You know, to go to a bank and take a 5-year or 7-year loan out is crazy. Or to just take money out of your checkbook and buy a car. You have a big checkbook. It's much better to lease. Every 3 years, you turn over the keys. I don't have my keys with me. Turn over the keys. Give me another one. Politely. And you get a brand new one with brand new technology. Now, as far as the headline here is, these are the 10 cheapest car brands to maintain. Well, we drove a Tesla for 3 years. You know what our maintenance was? 0. Nothing. There's no engine. There's no oil. There's no oil filter. Please change my oil. Every 5,000 miles, you got to go in and change your oil? These electric cars have sealed motors. The bearings are like, they're so precision balanced. There's no vibration. The engines have bearings. It's sealed for 1,000,000 miles. 1,000,000 miles? It'd take you 30 years to drive 1,000,000 miles. So you got 30-year sealed systems. The battery is warranted for 8 years. We're having exclusive use for 3. Turn over the keys, get a brand new one. Brand new battery, brand new 8-year warranty on the battery and drivetrain, the entire drivetrain and the battery, guaranteed for 8 years for those people that buy Teslas. This ride is smooth as silk. They really, we're driving a new one now. 2024 new one. Drives like so soft. So it's, all this whining and complaining, you hear you can't drive. Yeah. You go 300 miles every time you fill it up. What do you mean you can't get from here to there? 300 miles? That's a long commute. Marilyn drives 8 miles a day round trip to work and back. 4 miles each way. 4 and 4 is 8. So we basically have to plug in once a week. And, if you have a house, you wire your house or, so you can plug in. It's just the same electricity as your electric dryer. As a matter of fact, there's a plug. 1450 plug. You plug it right in the wall and you can run the cord right through your garage into your car. So you unplug the dryer and plug in the car. So the cheap solution is have your electrician put 2 plugs next to your dryer. Geez. The sensible thing to do is spend $500 and have the electrician run a plug somewhere near where it's convenient, to plug your car in. When you lease the car, you can include the charging cable. And it can be either included in the lease, or I think they make you pay for the wire. It's $220, I think, for the charging cable. And it comes with 2 different plugs. You can actually plug it into a 110 outlet. It only puts about 8 miles per hour into the battery. But the 1450, the NEMA 1450 plug, which is a 230 volt, 30 amp service, we'll put in about 30 miles per hour. So in 6 or 7 hours, your car is fully charged. So in theory, you have a house and a garage and so on. Every morning you leave with a full tank. It's electricity. You're fully fueled up. And you can drive 300 miles if you had to. In practice, Tesla says for everyday driving, charge it to 80% or 85%. Don't leave the top 20% alone unless you need to. You want to fill it 100%. Because you're starting off on a journey. That's fine, but not for everyday use. Charge it to 80%. And also don't go below. Don't go below. Excuse me. Don't go below 10%. So if you don't use the top 20% every day, and you don't use the bottom 10% every day, that's 30%. Well, that's basically 90 miles of range. So a 300 mile battery actually becomes 200 miles. But that's everyday driving. You go here, you go there, you go to work, then for lunch, you go out to lunch, then you stop by and get the groceries, and then you come home. So 5, 10, 15 minutes. So that's like, tops 25 miles? 30 miles, 50 miles a day. So 50 miles is, that's 50 miles on a 200 mile, don't use the top 20, don't use the bottom 10. So if you've got 200 miles worth of real range, and you don't drive more than 50 miles a day, because, heck, 50 times 360, that'd be 18,000 miles a year. So that's a lot of driving. We got a 30. We got a 10,000. We got a 30,000 mile, 10,000 miles a year. Let's divide that by 360. 27 miles a day. So 27 miles a day, every day, gets you to 10,000 miles. Well, we turned in our lease after 3 years. We never got to 20,000 miles. We got to like 18,400. We're just a little shy of 20,000 miles. Well, get our trusty calculator out again. Clear it. Let's just say 18. Well, that's about what we turned in. Divided by 35 months. 525 miles. Okay. A month. That's how you get, that's what we actually drove. Which is 2/3 of, like 800 miles a month. 8 times 12 is 96. So, math is not complicated. Battery is fine. You've got enough range to go, so every 4 days you plug in. You don't have to plug in every night, but you can. This is, you drive into your driveway. We live in a multi-family 200-unit building. All right? 200 families. And what was considered a luxury building. Right in the heart of downtown Boca Raton. Well, we live in 812. Everybody knows that. It's a matter of public record. I'm a licensed real estate broker. My address is plastered all over the internet. You have any public licenses, like a licensed real estate broker for 20, 30 years, whatever. There's certain things that are not private, like your address. My phone number is plastered all over the internet because I was, I am a FAU faculty member. I have a website, 416-1100.com. My everything about Jimmy is on that. There it is. What's it doing over there? There you go, 416-1100.com. Bingo, there it is. That's my favorite polo shot. Look at that. You can see it in living color. Well, if you go down to the very bottom, 26,417,000 visitors. Oh boy. And on the bottom of every page on my website, look at that, there's a public bio of Jimmy. You can read it. It's at the bottom. You go all the way to the bottom. And you can see my public bio. Talking about Royal Trust Bank and this and that, and Joe Robbie Stadium. Oh, I'm so proud to have something to do with that. Signed off on Joe Robbie Stadium because one of the principals happened to live in the Tampa market, and I had to sign off on this. So I had to go through all the paperwork for Joe Robbie Stadium, which was, a binder. They sent me a 3-ring binder. Here, read this. There'll be a quiz on Monday. I mean, it was, oh boy. It was a $115 million construction loan. Can you imagine? Today it would be $2 billion. But back in 1983, when the Joe Robbie Stadium deal was negotiated, Southeast Bank was the lead lender. We participated. We didn't do all 115 million. We were about a $10 billion bank at the time. We took a $20 million piece of, let's say, a $120 million deal. So we had $100 million left over, which we participated out to five other banks. It actually took 4 because there was another bank that took $20 million piece. And then 3 others took 10. That math doesn't work out, but you got, there was a number of $10 million pieces and a few $20 million pieces. I know Southeast Bank, I know we took $20 million and laid off the rest. And they were lining up to take a piece of that deal because it was, it was a big deal. It was a bond deal in Miami. Miami had a successful bond offering to the public, and they bought bonds in which they were paid an interest rate of an amount I forget. It was a while ago, 1983. Ooh, can I count that much? 83, 93, 03, 13, 23. Over 40 years ago. Wow. Jeez. Over 40 years ago. It was on 140 acres, very, very northwestern piece of Dade County, right on the Dade County, Broward County line, but in Dade County. The stadium hosted 5 Super Bowl games. Hell yeah, man. Come on down to sunny South Florida for your football game. The worst case is you get wet. It's a little rain. Instead of the sleet and the snow and the ice and all the, I mean, for championship games like that, where you get people flying in from all over the country to see a Super Bowl, that costs, $5,000 a ticket. So you and your honey, the tickets are $10K. The trip is $20K, so that's $30K. $30,000. Whew, a lot of money. But, so you should have it in a resort place that can handle, 40,000 people coming from somewhere else. That's 20,000 rooms. You got an 75,000 seat stadium, so the local market gets 15,000 tickets. You got 60,000 seats left over. Husband and wife, that's 30,000 couples. 30,000 rooms, that's what you need. Well, Miami is the market that has 30,000 hotel rooms any given Sunday. Much less Super Bowl Sunday. Anyway, that was a fun deal to do. Joe Robbie Stadium sits on 140 acres. 24,000 car parking. It was built for 75,000 seats. Anyway, it's right in the old resume here. My signature is on the official papers that approved that deal. There were a few other signatures on there. Remember that, on the bottom of the credit authorization ticket, they called it a CAT, I think it was. Credit authorization ticket. Some banks called it a car. I think Southeast Bank called it a CAT. Anyway, there were like 5 lines for signatures. All 5 lines. Well, 4 of the lines are already signed. Mine was the last one. Yep. That's the only time I've seen all lines on that form used. Oh boy. Because it required the highest level of authority. You know, I'd sign off on it. Bernie Bischoff had to sign off on it. Jack Echon had to sign off on it. That's 3 of the 6. And then you had people in Miami like Jess Lawhorn, Mike Ivanetic, and then you needed the chairman of the chairman of the board who signed off for the senior credit committee from the board of directors. That's on all deals 60 million and over. Of course, and this was one of them. So that was the news. Anyway, so we were just talking about Jim Wilson's website and how public my name and address and phone number are. So nothing private with Jimmy. Leasing is a very affordable way. It is the most economic way to drive a car. Because the bottom line is, how much does it cost you to drive a car? No matter what you do, it costs you something. If you just write a check and buy the car, it costs you money because you could have had that invested in stocks, bonds, gold, whatever, you know. But you don't have it invested. You have it invested in the car. So that's a cost because you could have had it invested in something else and you could have leased the car. And in today's interest rate environment, you probably make more money with that $50,000. Let's see. Let's get our calculator out again. Isn't that nice that you can see my calculator? You see me pushing the button, boing, boing, boing. That's the clear button. That red button's the clear button. I keep on tapping it, and you can tell. You can't see my finger. You can see my finger if you look in the right-hand panel of your TV screen. And on the left-hand side, you can see the... Anyway, so let's just take $50,000 because you decided to write a check. And we're going to multiply that by times 0.06 equals, that's $3,000 a year you would have made on investment rate of return. We're going to divide it by 12. That's $250. So you lose on $250 a month because at least it could be $500 a month. I picked a low number. So you probably make $500 a month with that money in real terms. So if it costs you $600 a month for a lease, and you would have made $500 a month with the investment instead of piling $50,000 in a car, which is okay. Teslas happen to have a very high residual, meaning that the depreciation is low compared to other cars for certain, because the maintenance cost is 0. Remember? Hello? We drove the car for 3 years. Maintenance was 0. It's not hard to big crash in Del Rey on I-95. So if you're driving on I-90, don't try to get through Del Rey because the road's closed. 2 cars smashed into a disabled tractor trailer, made a big mess. Fire, just stay away. Chain reaction crash on I-75, excuse me, not I-95, Palm Beach County. News break. Oh, I'm not going to go through it. You can see it on my, no, you saw it if you're quick with the eye. Anyway, leasing is a marvelous way to drive a car. Who cares who has title? Every 3 years, you're going to get another one. So what are you going to do? You're going to get a car loan, finance the thing for 3, 4, 5 years, pay $800-900 a month, for the car loan with the interest from the bank. Because they're going to get it. They're going to get 9%. Interest rates have doubled, tripled since Trump left office because Biden has been spending money like crazy. Inflation has, we had a 9% inflation rate. We've had 3.5%, 9%, 6%, 3.5%. You add it all up, it's about 25%. So the price of everything has gone up 25%. Housing, gasoline, used to be $1.80. Now it's $3.60. That's doubled. That's 100%. Well, food and gasoline is not counted in the CPI. Oh, how convenient. The 2 biggest things that people spend money on, they don't count in the CPI. Only the government. Now, see, they use the CPI for Social Security, so they don't want to give all these retired people any more money than they have to, because retired people don't pay a lot of taxes. So they don't want to give you anything. Anyway, leasing is a very convenient way. $600 a month is better than $900 a month or $1,000 a month if you buy a car with any kind of a loan. If you use all cash, you're going to lose $500 a month in investment income. So I'd rather have $50K in my checkbook and pay $600 a month for 3 years. And then at the end of 3 years, you turn over the keys and you get another one. So every 10 years, you've had 3 cars instead of 1. I know people that have had Teslas for 9 years. Battery's fine. You have all this computer stuff. Apps that you can get, here we go. Computer, stop. Every time I use the word computer, my little friend behind me starts talking. You probably heard her in the background. Hold on a second. Computer, what time is it? I don't know if you heard that. She says 9:41 a.m. She's correct. Now it's 9:42. Time keeps marching ahead. So here's your phone is your app. Excuse me. Your phone is your key Tesla keeps saying, your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. I took, being the wise guy that I am, this is my trusty iPad, an 11-inch iPad. I took my iPad down and created a key out of my iPad. You know, you have a computer card. Oops. It's inside here. It's a black card that's in here. Carefully, you can see a black card in there. See that black card? I got my name. Oh, there it is. It says Tesla. When you get the car for the first time, you get one of these cards. And I put my name and address on the back of it. Oh, in case it gets lost. So that goes right inside of here. Tucked behind my my 1968 driver's license in New York State. That was my last hurrah in New York State, and I got the hell out of there. Never went back. Oy. Long story there. Anyway, that's my New York State driver's license, which has long since expired. At the time, I was, let's see, let's say your weight. My eyes were blue. Male. As, you know, as things that have it, I know my driver's license number. It's a long one. Oh, God. W09-450-21221-692290. That's it. You can see it right up on the very top of that license. I'm the only fool that knows his driver's license number from 1968. Yeah. Oh, yes. Amazing how the mind works. Anyway, your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. That's what Tesla keeps telling you. Your phone is your key. You don't use this. You use your iPhone. I happen to have an iPhone tucked in the corner here. It says April 30 right on there. That's today. So you take your phone down, you have the screen on your computer, your car has this computer screen that's about the size of this one right here. Actually, it's bigger. This is 13 inch, that's 15 inch screen. And with the screen prompts and so forth, you can create keys. You know, you have your phone, your wife's phone, your son's phone, your daughter's phone. So you can have, I think, up to 5 drivers. It's probably more than that. Seems like I read 5 somewhere. So I signed up my iPad as a key. And the reason why I did that is if I load the app and use the app, there's a big block that says, you know, sign up your phone as a key. So I figured, well, if I create a key out of this iPad, then that message won't be blocking, so I could show you what's going on with the car. Let's see, where is it? See where it says location right there in the middle? Let's give you a full screen view on this. Bingo. You see that right there? Going up and down. You see right? So it's not red, it's black. I just made it red because the background is gray, and black with gray, you can't see the car very well. So I figured, well, I can change the color of the car. So I made it red. What the heck? car's actually black. So here, this is cool. Live camera, Sentry mode enabled. Now, right here, you're going to see that's a composite of all the cameras, all 4 cameras. And you can see front, rear, left, and right. So the front of the car would be the top right is a hedge or a flower pot with bushes in it. Okay. Top left is coming off the rear camera. The license tag would be in the very bottom, if you can see it. And it's, since she's nose in, apparently, you can see a car going to the, let's look at the rear camera. This is apparently the rear one. All right, I was wondering if I could actually do an expanded view of it. But if you look on the very top, on the top right one, this car is way in the very top edge of there. You can see car. That's Glades Road. And you can see the bottom, the bottom edge of the license plate with the red numbers. So that's the rear. Top left is the front camera. And then you got the left camera and the right camera. So you can do Sentry mode and look. You can honk your horn, you see in the very bottom. I can flash the lights. You can fart. It goes. So if someone's walking by your car, you can make it fart. Or hook the horn and flashlights. So if you're, let's say it's dusk and you're getting ready to go, you're in a shopping center or something or other, and there's some robberies and so forth going on in shopping center parking lots. If you see anyone around your car, you can look and you can see if anyone's around the car. And if you want to, you can flash your lights, or you can hook your horn. I mean, I can hook the horn right now. People wonder, why is Marilyn's car honking? No, I don't want to do that. But anyway, so that's what live camera is. This all comes right off the app on the Tesla. Climate. This tells you that you see right in the middle, interior temperature is 79, exterior temperature is 74 in sunny Boca Raton, which might be partly cloudy Boca Raton. The air conditioner is set for 66 degrees, and it's off. I can turn it on. Watch the simulation if I turn it on. So I hit the off, and that turns it on. Look, you see the air conditioning coming out of the vents. That's the attention to detail for these animations. So, and if you watch the interior temperature, it'll start to decrease. I'll leave it on a couple minutes and it'll start to go down. Take my word for it. Turn it off. See, there's no motor. You don't have to start the engine because it's electric. So when you turn on the air conditioning, there's a motor that gets turned on that operates the compressor. And then that operates the same as the air conditioner that you have in your gas guzzling car. No matter how guzzling it is, it has a belt that goes around the engine. And of course, the belt that goes around the engine then creates the rotational necessities to operate the compressor. With an electric car, you don't have this big belt that goes around through the engine, and you got the gas. You got to start the engine. No, you've got electricity in the battery, and you got a motor that's directly connected to the shaft of the compressor. There's no big belt that connects to everything. You don't need to start the engine. The engine in the front and the engine in the back, the motors in the front and the motor in the back are electric. They only operate when you put it in drive or reverse and you're sitting in the car and you tell the car you want to go in drive or you want to go in reverse. So that's nice, because if you park your car out in the parking lot for lunch, for example, the temperature of the car gets up to 120 degrees. Well, you know what you can do? You can hit this climate button right about the time you're signing your check or you get your check, and then the girl takes your card and pays to the bill, whatever. Or you get up in line and pay your bill at the cash register. Well, in the meantime, you've already got the air conditioner running in your car. So by the time you pay your bill and walk out the front door, your car went from 120 degrees to 75 degrees. So when you open the door, it's not hot because the air conditioners are running for 5 or 6 minutes to cool down the car. We happen to have white seats this year instead of black seats, and that makes a big difference on the internal temperature of the car. It's a major difference in the internal temperature of the car because you don't have this black seating absorbing all this energy from the sun. The seats aren't hot. Touch the seats, they're not hot. When you have black interior, oh my God, the seats are 140 degrees. So you sit your nice fanny down on 140 degrees. Your back is on 140 degrees. Seats are white. You turn on that air conditioner while you're paying your bill or your appointment is over. Whip out your iPhone before you get in the elevator or whatever. And by the time you get to your car, it's nice and cool. Because you worked your climate button on your app that's in your iPhone. It also works, I believe, with Android phones. I can look at the charging stats on the last charge. And go up or down, see details. So far, in the month of April, we saved $100. We spent $124 for electricity, and it would have cost $213, saved $89 in the month of April. It keeps track of the last 30 days, or a month, yeah. The home rate is 15 cents a kilowatt. Supercharger rate is 46 cents a kilowatt. Upgrades. Software upgrades. Subscriptions. Managed subscriptions. Full self-driving. Used to be $12,000 or $200 a month. They dropped it down to $8,000 and it's $100 a month. China just gave the go-ahead for full self-driving software. So it could be a pretty nice, pardon the expression, surge of people signing up for full self-driving in China. There are a lot of people in China, a lot of cars in China. There's 1 million Teslas floating around in China. If you get 500,000 people, let's just do the math. Calculator. Let's say 500,000 people. Oops. 500,000 people. There's the comma. Times $99 a month. It's 495,000 times 12. Woo! That's about $6 million a year in added annual income, and the cost is they've already done the software. So the ongoing cost is just people that are already in the building doing the software business. It's just added to the bottom line because the other operating expenses are already there. That's $5 million in additional net income. Get the calculator back again. The price-earnings ratio on Tesla stock is like over 50. But let's just say it's 50 times 50. That's 300 million in added value of the company every year. 300 million a year in added value. Phew. That's just for China. Of course, you got Europe. I don't know what the deal is with full self-driving in Europe. Is Elon Musk? The company is working on getting these jurisdictions lined up for full self-driving because they have 10 billion. That's with a B. They got 10 billion miles worth of driving experience with full self-driving. I remember these numbers. The Department of Transportation says of all cars with people driving, humans driving cars, the accident rate is an accident every 600,000 miles. Okay? With humans driving cars, sober, drunk, everything in between, mostly sober, hopefully, there's an accident every 600,000 miles. With full self-driving, it's an accident every 7 million miles. Okay, with the computer-aided driving, because full self-driving isn't really in place in the United States yet. Computer, stop. I used the C word again. She starts talking behind me every time he. Anyway, with full self, we don't have full self-driving yet. They call it supervised. So highly supervised. You have to check off a box before it'll let you use it. Just one time. It says, you have to hold on to the wheel. You got to pay attention. It'll drive itself, so you can have your hands loose on the wheel, because it'll turn. It'll keep you right smack in the middle of the lanes. It's really nice. So if you're going on a 100-mile jaunt on an interstate highway, you get over in the middle lane, let's say, and you push down on there's a stalk that comes out, 2 stalks. One over here on the left side controls your windshield wipers and push a button and you spray your windows. Your turn signals. Right? Over on the right side, which you push it up, and push it down to go forward and reverse. But the important thing is, if you're driving the car, so you're on the on-ramp and you just get on I-95 or I-75 or whatever interstates you happen to be familiar with. So you get over in your middle lane, one tap down on the right-hand stalk, it engages your advanced cruise control, call it that. Elon Musk likes to call it full self-driving. If you pay the $100 a month or you pay the $8,000, if you own the car, I guess you might as well pay the $8K and just get it. Anyway, $100 a month is a lot easier to go, because you can turn it on, turn it off. You don't need to keep it on. So if you're not going to take a road trip, you can turn it off. If you decide you're going to take a road trip somewhere, you turn it on. You pay $100, so it gives you the use of that service for the whole month, and then clicks off if you don't have it on. If you haven't decided to keep it renewing, it'll automatically renew until you stop it. But you can stop it and start it again. You can stop it and start it again. It doesn't have to be a continuous. So that's nice. But remember, with human driving, there's an accident every, I think it's 597,000 miles. So let's just say 600,000 miles. But with the advanced autopilot, the accident rate is 1 for every 3 million miles. With autopilot, it's every 4 million miles, with the full self-driving autopilot. So it's 8 times safer to have the computer help you drive the car. 8 times safer. That's, what's not to like about that? You read about, oh my God, it had automatic pilot on and there was an accident. Well, there'd be 8 times more accidents if the car didn't have the computer assisted driving. So the more miles under the belt, the more cars that use the system, then it keeps track of it. Remember, every car connects to the home office because it has its own data line in every car. The antenna is under the front hood, which makes probably the whole hood an antenna. I'm making that up a little bit because I actually don't know. I don't know if the whole car becomes an antenna or the hood, the front trunk hood. It's transmitting and receiving signals through the cellular system with an internal antenna. Let's put it that way. There's no little thing sticking up. Car is completely smooth, except for the mirrors on each side, which you don't need because I just show you, beautiful computer pictures of your left and right mirrors because they're cameras that are on the sides of the car that look right at your blind spots. So you can have a car right next to you, right in your blind spot, and it'd be right smack in the middle of that camera. Because the cameras are angled, not straight out from the car, but back, a little bit, 45-degree angle back. And they're right in front of they're right behind the front wheel on each side. And then, of course, you got a camera in the tail and 3 cameras in the front. We can see one of the cameras in the front. And we can see the wide-angle camera in the rear. So, you don't need the mirrors, but yeah, car manufacturers and the National Highway Transportation, they're used to mirrors. They're not that used to the cameras. So they want everyone to have mirrors. In a couple of years, cars equipped with this kind of computer equipment will allow them not to have mirrors. And then, of course, that makes it more convenient, makes it beneficial for the aerodynamic drag. Do you ever go 50 miles an hour and have your hand out the window? The pressure of the wind on your hand. Well, they put things like in the front of the mirror to make it, like a nose cone. But there's still wind resistance. Less than if you have your hand cupped. Because you can have your hand out the window, and then you can turn it this way and turn it that way. And there's a big difference in the pressure on your hand if your hand is facing the wind. And if you go like this, then you just have the wind hitting this edge, so to speak. It's not real complicated physics there with aerodynamic drag, as they call it. So Tesla has proven it doesn't need mirrors. And sooner or later, the National Transportation, it's a bigger acronym. Yeah. Big government bureaucracy. Oh yeah, we gotta have mirrors. We've always had mirrors. Can you imagine? No, you're not always, because 100 years ago we had horse and wagon. Let me tell you, the horse and wagon people were not happy with Ford Company, in 1907 or 5, whatever, when they started mass producing cars. The horse and buggy people were very upset. There was a big lobby, the lobbyists for the horse and buggy industry, trying to do everything possible to prevent Ford from delivering cars in big numbers. Well, people started thinking, hey, you know what? This Ford car doesn't, I don't have to feed it twice a day. It doesn't get sick very often. I don't need a rider. I don't need, this and that, Holy crap, I can just get in this car and drive all over the place on the roads. And I don't have to worry about waking up the horse and strapping it to the buggy and giddy up. Just get in that car, wind up the windows when it's raining, and you're completely insulated from the weather. The rain, anyway. And snow. Car starts up with a battery. Car has something to keep the battery charged. Yeah, so simple car systems back in the days of the Model T Ford. You get third generation Ford, great grandson, running the company now. Ford's a great car, actually, I'm told by people in the car business. I have a son in the car business. Works for Jam Lexus. Lexus is like a super Toyota, a super duper Toyota. It's like the Mercedes-Benz of the Toyota empire. Anyway, Toyota, Honda, Ford Motor Company, General Motors have all agreed that starting in 2005 or before, they're going to use the Tesla receptacle so they can drive into any one of the 15,000 charging stations already built in the United States. Because Elon Musk has been building these electric fueling stations for the last 10 years. It takes a lot of planning, not to mention the subterranean work to build a little traffic island there. You got all kinds of power that feeds underneath this charging dispensary, if you will. Notice there's no windows on the front for charging like a credit card, because if you're a Tesla driver, remember your phone is your key. Well, when you sign on to your car, particularly if you have a lease or whatever, your name, your address, your zip code, and your credit card or debit card is entered into the system of the car. When you plug Tesla's charging cord into your receptacle over here on the side and the back side right there, if you follow, I'm kind of over here on the right side of the picture. When you plug the Tesla charger thing into your car, Tesla reads the car information. There's a couple of, there's two high power tabs in the little charging thing. And there are three low voltage. One's a ground and then two signal wires, which essentially pull your credit card information into the Tesla charging booth so that it knows who to bill the electricity to. Because you're putting huge amounts of electricity into your battery. They will start making new Tesla thingies with a thing where you can put a charge card in there, because all the major car companies have agreed to the Tesla plug, which makes sense. So they've come up with a North American receptacle, and they decided to adopt the Tesla plug. It's the most attractive one. It's small, It's no bigger than handling a small stapler, Or here's a stapler. In other words, your whole plug is this size. It literally is this size. Plug it in. You've seen some of these plugs. It's huge. How do they come up with these things? Well, the problem is they're trying to satisfy so many different industry groups. The guys that designed that plug, well, they want it this way, and this one wants it that way, and that one wants this, and this one wants that. And with a plug that's this big around. It looks like it's almost like a two-handed thing. Ew. Whereas the Tesla plug is no bigger than this stapler. You slide it right in the back end of your car. The charging booth thingy then reads the card information off your card, off the electronics in your car, because your credit card's already in the car, because it automatically builds that credit card information with your car payment or your lease payment, or neither if you bought the car with cash, which I don't recommend. Keep your powder dry. Do a lease. Every 3 years you turn the car in. You're not in the car business. You're in the driving the car business. All you want to do is I'm in the business of driving the car. I'm not in the business. I don't want to be in the car business. Turn in the key. I get a new key. In the case of Tesla, you get a new car. There is no key. So they give you, when you get your new Tesla, you get 2 of these in a nice little black folder, which is around here somewhere. I gave one to Marilyn, kept one for myself. I happen to have a third one because I bought 2 more. I had to turn the 2 other car keys back. But see, I got a black one there. And I have another one in here. This I keep in my back pocket so that if we go out to breakfast, lunch, or dinner and valet the car, you hand over this thing. You don't hand over your iPhone. Yeah. Because the valet guy has got to drive the car away. And unless this thing is in the car, right on the armrest, right. So if your hand was hanging over the car would be hanging right over there. The 2 cups thing here, right behind the 2 cups, where you have the cup holders. You put this right by the armrest, right behind the 2 cups of the cup holder. And that's how the valet guy drives the car away. And then he brings us back. He just taps this. You see right there, the column between the front and rear. You just tap the card right on that column. It locks the car. You tap it again, unlocks the car. You want to drive the car? Put that thing right behind the cup holders. And then the valet guy can return your car to you. He leaves that in the car, and then you get in the car and you drive away. And you put that little sucker back in your back pocket, and the car automatically knows that your iPhone is with you, because remember, your phone is your key. Your phone. They have these videos you watch before you get there. I mean, all this stuff is like automated with videos, and you watch 8 videos, and you have to check off that you watched them before they even give you the car. Oh God, it's like computer training, so you can drive your car. It's really very simple to drive. I mean, couldn't be anything simpler. But it's just so, it's just so different because it's got electricity instead of gasoline. But I mean, when you get right down to it, it's energy. It's just a different form of energy. What's so complicated about that? It's not. It's very simple. Elon Musk has a surprise visit to China after postponing the trip to India because he spoke to some Chinese people. He said, "Hurry up and get in here. We can get you in front of the commission that deals with self-driving, but you need to come here right away." So I'm kind of making up the story a little bit, but he had a trip planned for India. Said, change of plans. We're going to China. So, woo-hoo! Made a left turn and decided to go to China. Of course, he has his own jet, so it's not like he's got to book tickets. He just tells the pilot, excuse me, change in plan. We're going to China. Captain communicates with the international, flight plan. Files a new flight plan electronically from the cockpit. The co-pilot will do that while the pilot is piloting. And he took a hard turn and went to China. He's had his China visit, and China said, okay, I agree with you. United States, the average driver crashes the car within 600,000 miles of driving, which is, too much for any one car. So, you divide that by 1,000 cars or whatever. Let's do that math in case it's too much. 600,000 miles between crash. Well, let's divide that by 1,000 cars. So for 1,000 cars, that means every 600 miles, one of them is going to crash. Just one crash every 600 miles. So that's once a month. 1,000 cars are going to get in a crash. But with full self, with the autopilot engaged, that drops to an accident every 2.4 million. So you divide that by 1,000 cars, that's every 2,400 miles instead of every 600 miles. That's quite a difference. That the computers don't fall asleep when you're driving at 3 a.m. They don't look over to the passenger, and all of a sudden something jumps out in front of the car and you're gonna have a wreck. Because remember, in Tesla, you got 8 cameras looking in all directions at all times. So that's like having eyes on the back of your head, so to speak, because we don't have 2 eyeballs looking in each of 4 directions at the same time. That means that I have to have 2 eyeballs coming out of each side of my ear, and 2 eyeballs coming out of the back of my head, and 2 eyeballs going in the front of my head. That I have. The other 6 cameras I don't have. I got to turn my head. Well, if I'm looking this way, I can't see that way. But see, with the Tesla, all the cameras are looking in all directions simultaneously. And then you got some big computer thingy behind the glove box that all this digital data is going into and coordinating everything. In the meantime, your car is right between the white lines. I mean, it is rock solid. And there's a turn, and it turns. And there's a swerve this way, and this way, and it keeps you right smack in the middle of those white lines. That's why I say, when you get on the highway, get in the middle lane, push down on the right stalk one time. It engages the advanced autopilot, or advanced cruise control, let's call it that way, because everybody knows what a cruise control is. Well, this is like a super duper cruise control. One stalk down, whoosh, keeps the car right smack in the middle of the lane. Now, if you have an address in the navigator, which is, you say, I'm going to whisper it because otherwise the lady behind me starts talking. Computer. Take me to Flakowitz. and it automatically maps out a course to Plakowitz, which is only 4 miles away, and it'll take you right to Plakowitz, right smack to the front door of Plakowitz, all automatically. Don't you supervise the driving, because it's not beta anymore. It's not full self-driving beta. It's autopilot supervised, which means you have to be attentive. Now, since there are literally millions and millions of people now using the software, let's say there's probably 6 or 8 million cars out there driving around, Tesla cars. Now, let's just say 4 million cars, because only hardware 3 and 4 versions can operate this, because you had hardware 1 and hardware 2. Hardware 1 and 2 don't have the necessary computing power or visual data to operate autopilot supervised or advanced cruise control supervised. Hardware version 3, which is the hardware version we had in our 2021 Tesla. Now we're driving the 2024 Tesla, 3 years later, and it's hardware version 4, which they upgraded the computer to 20 times more capable than the previous computer. And it has 8 cameras, and each camera is 2 million pixels instead of 700,000 pixels. So the cameras are more granular, if you will. In other words, if you look at a 700 pixel picture and put it up on a 15-inch screen, it's pixelated. It doesn't have the clarity. But a 2 million pixel image, like the images you see here, I mean, the images that we're showing you here, these are 2 million pixel images. Unless your computer has downgraded the signal because of your internet connection or something like that. Oh, we just got a little message here that Erica, our housekeeping team, is coming in tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Just got oh, you see it right there. Yeah, you see it right there. Erica, housekeeping, tomorrow at 10:30. That's right, you can see it. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I need to make sure I have $100 so stash here somewhere. Or I can go down to the ATM, which I'll probably do this afternoon to avoid the June rush. All right. So I told you a little bit about full self-driving. I talked a little bit about the current news. This, all these Hezbollah aficionados that have infiltrated these college campuses, anti-Semitic types, Palestinians, let's call them. It's all organized. It's all part of this liberal infiltration of our school system that's been right from the first grade on up. They started infiltrating our school systems 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I said, no, where's the American flag? It's not in the classrooms anymore. We not only had an 11 American flag sitting over in the corner to the left of all the chalkboards, right there in the corner. Every classroom had a flagpole with a flag. What did they do with all the flags? What did they do with all those flags? And all the flagpoles? They're gone. Yep, no more Pledge of Allegiance. The left part of our, the left-wing part of our society said, "Oh, that may upset people that aren't, naturalized Americans or Americans born." Oh, really? You don't like it? Get the hell out. This is the United States of America. Our classrooms have the American flags. But you know what? Everyone says, let's appease. Let's make the, okay. We want to make the 5% happy, so the 95% have to give up our allegiance to our flag? Really? We're all a bunch of dummies. Reagan warned us. Our freedom and our liberty is only one generation from extinction. Because in one generation, we can lose the country. And it will turn socialistic and eventually communistic, and it will turn down because you can't treat everybody equally. You can't take away, our capitalistic society gives everybody the dream that they can have a better life. And up until now, everybody is having a better life, sort of. A little bit of a downturn in the last few years because interest rates have gone way up. Inflation has gone way up. Remember, it was 3%, 6%, 9%, 3%, 3%. You add all that up, it's over 24%. Let's round it to 25%. Well, guess what? The prices don't come down. Inflation takes the prices up, and they stay up there. Oh, inflation is down. No. Inflation is down. That means it goes up slower. But it's at 25, and if we have 5% inflation, which I'll bet we have, then it goes to 30. Well, let's just keep it where it is. 25%. So something that costs you $75 is now going to cost you $100. A little more. And the price, like to fill up a tank. Tank of gas right now costs you, $75. Used to be $35. Now it's $75. It's like taxes. That's the worst tax. Taxes the entire society. And it hurts the people on the bottom end of the income stream the worst, because that tax is spread equally among everybody. Everybody pays that tax of inflation. And unless there's deflation, which we don't want that, that's even worse than inflation, the prices just stay up there. Because the cost of getting things to you, the cost of making things, the cost of growing things, everything is 25% up, and that's why the prices are 25% up. And a big piece of that is the cost of energy, because it takes energy, gasoline, electric, coal, energy, liquid natural gas, the fuel you put in your furnaces, which is essentially kerosene, heating oil, heating fluid. It's kerosene that doesn't smell so bad. When I was in chemistry class, we used to design petrochemical distillation places. called fractional distillation, where you boil up the crude oil and it comes up through this big flue. You know the flue, like the flue you have with your furnace, with your when you burn logs in your fireplace. Well, that heat goes up the flue. So with a fractional distillation, you got some openings up the flue. So this is the highest temperature. And then it comes up to, that 180 degree temperature. And those fumes come all over the side. And then it gets cooled. And what is that? Isooctane. That's gasoline. Up the flue. And you have different taps up this big flue where you take off the kerosene. Jet fuel number 2. Isooctane, which is the gasoline. And then, benzene. You got 8 or 10 stops up the flue. Fractional distillation. Anyway, energy is energy. So when energy costs go up, almost everything in our society goes up. You need energy and energy materials for fertilizer. You need energy, I don't care what's gasoline, electric, diesel fuel, isooctane, gasoline, or electric energy to get products from the farm to the mill, from the mill to the distributor, from the distributor to the truck that delivers it to the rear of the grocery store. And then the bag of beans ends up on the shelf of the grocery store, and then you buy it. Well, you got a lot of transportation to get it from the farm to the back end of the grocery store. It's not a direct shot, necessarily. It may be for fresh celery, fresh lettuce, fresh tomatoes, but there's a lot of other stuff that has to go through this, process, other than just transportation cost. But, when you transport tomatoes to the grocery store, it makes a stop. It goes to the place where the fruits gets washed and the fruits get packaged, and then the fruits get delivered to the grocery store. I don't care if it's tomatoes or it's strawberries or celery or carrots. So transportation, the energy cost gets as a factor of energy in everything that we consume, eat, or dispose of. In the trash, you got to take the trash away. Someone picks up the trash. Well, that's a garbage truck. Well, that's a big piece of machinery that hauls trash from your driveway to a centralized dumping location. So that's the whole energy cycle. The nice thing about electric cars, in case you didn't realize, there's no exhaust pipe. Okay? My theory is a simple one. I used to remember in chemistry class, I just told you that I was in a class that we designed fractional distillation plants. Well, when you have these factories, these major factories that like produce electricity, let's just say that, and it boils. Let's say it uses liquid natural gas or coal. Let's just say coal. It's a coal-fired generation plant, which then creates electricity and then pumps electricity through the wires into your home, from which you charge your car. That's the little example I'm giving. Or you have a car that has a gasoline engine, in which you fuel up in a gas station. Well, let's just say you got a full tank of gas and you got a full tank of electricity in the battery. All right? My theory is I'd rather have, because the hydroelectric plant produces a lot of smoke, so to speak. But if you look at the smokestack from a hydroelectric plant in America today, the smoke comes out like white. Because all those carbon monoxides, all those oxides, the carbon ones particularly, and the unburnt carbon is stripped out of the smoke. So mostly the smoke is steam. That's why it looks white coming out of the smokestack. There's some other chemicals in there, but most of the poisonous carbon minerals are washed out of the smoke. The smoke is washed, so to speak. It's sprayed with chemistry that removes the carbon monoxides and the unburnt carbon molecules that are floating around, which makes the deep black smoke. That's unburnt carbon, basically, and carbon monoxides, and carbon dioxides, and water vapor. So if you wash the smoke with certain chemistry, a lot of things that pollute the air are removed. But see, it's hard to produce that kind of a washing system in the exhaust pipe of every car. So that's why you have all this smoke coming out of all these vapors coming out of every exhaust pipe. Well, electric car, you have none of that. All the smoke that's needed to produce my electricity is washed in the smokestack of the power electric facility. If you have a nuclear power plant, there's no smoke, just steam and hot water. Well, I just saw a little bulletin. Trump was fined $9,000 for his breaking the gag order. What is known as almost an illegal gag order, because, usually when a judge puts a gag order, everybody gets gagged. The witnesses get gagged, the jury gets gagged, the plaintiff's attorneys, the defendant's attorneys and clients, everybody has to shut up. Not this judge. Only Trump has to shut up. Everybody else can get on national television and yippity yip as much as they want, except for the jury. The plaintiff's attorneys, Trump has to shut up. That's like, right out of the gun. The guy is prejudiced like crazy. So grounds for an appeal. That all in itself. An illegal gag order. Judges can get away with anything. So that gives you an idea of what kind of a court Trump is facing with a New York City judge and a New York City bunch of plaintiffs' attorneys that ran for office. We're going to get Trump. So instead of, the way the legal system is supposed to run is you break the law, and then if Johnny Law finds you, F-I-N-D, find, not F-I-N-E. So if you break a law, the legal system fines you and then penalizes you because you broke the law. Not in New York. They can run, or actually Georgia, both states, these district attorneys running for office. I promise you, if you elect me, I'm going to get Trump. I'm going to find something that he did wrong, and we're going to prosecute him. So they literally scour. I mean, that's what Putin does in Russia. See what that guy did wrong. Let's put him in jail. That's why America was founded, because that's what was happening in the British system. We're going to find something wrong with what you've done. It violates the 8th Amendment, the 1st Amendment, the 2nd Amendment. Yeah. The whole Bill of Rights has been violated in New York State. Even the gag order was illegal. I mean, it's not a law that says you have to gag everybody, but whoever heard of gagging half of the people in the court? Oh yeah. Now, defendant gets gagged. Everyone else, you can go on national television and tell us how bad Trump is. Trump has no way of defending himself. He has to be quiet for like several months. And the judge is requiring him to be in every minute of every testimony. When they excuse the jury, not Trump. He's got to sit in there and listen to the attorneys arguing with each other. He's got to sit there. So Kristi Noem, I don't know if you know who she is. This is my last fast topic. Kristi Noem is relatively young, attractive governor of South Dakota. Kristi Noem. You see her on these interesting commercials. Where she's an electrician, I'm looking for the. There you go. Trump, Noem. Democrats, political figures dogpile onto Trump's VP hopefuls. Turns out Kristi Noem coming out with a book. And in one of the chapters, she mentions that she had to kill an 18-month-old dog because it'd bite everybody. It wasn't a good dog. There's something wrong with the dog. When you're out there in farm country, so if you had a bad dog, you just shot it. Just like, if a horse breaks a leg, shoot the horse. You don't have to call the vet and would you please, put my horse to sleep? No. They see the horse got a broken leg. It's laying on its side or it's trying to limp around on 3 legs, whatever. You got to put the horse down. Bam. put a gun up to the temple, to the front of the forehead of the horse, pull the trigger, horse is down. Well, I had to do the same thing with a dog. 18-month-old dog, they call it a puppy, for the dog lovers, call them puppies. I don't know how old a dog has to be before it's not a puppy any longer. Anyway, so Christy Nome has a little chapter about how she had to put this dog down because it broke out of the place, the pen, ran over to the neighbor's chicken farm and killed a whole bunch of chickens, for the fun of it. 18-month-old dog's a big dog. It's a full-grown dog. To me, a puppy is like, 0 to 5 months. It's like a baby. A baby dog's a puppy. But when it gets over a year old, or when it gets over 8 months old, it's not a puppy. It's a full-running dog. It's probably 80% of body weight. So when it gets to be 18 months old, it's a full-size dog. Anyway, so she had to put the dog down because it was biting everybody, and it was just, and when you live out in the farm area, South Dakota has open fields, farming. You don't have dogs on leashes. The dogs are trained the best you can, and they behave and they stay inside their fencing. Some are more a little aggressive on the fencing than others. So you have better fencing if you want to have. But, usually, a farmhouse, we lived in one for a few years when I was real young. Too young to remember, actually. Honesdale, Pennsylvania. Which is, west of New York. 100 miles or so. Rolling hills, cattle country. So steer got too old and it was not the right kind of a steer for meat producing, where you would take it to the slaughterhouse, so to speak. You put the steer down. You didn't call the vet out and said, "Oh, you please give this big ass cow an injection because he's old and he's not productive anymore, and we need to put her down." So they put her down. It's to this, to that for the slaughterhouse, so we have to put her down. So you just put her down. Get the tractor out, pick a dig hole, and bury it. Well, they had to put the dog down out there in the big old fields of, a farm might have 6, 8 dogs, and they all behave, and maybe one doesn't. And if one dog's biting all the rest, and one dog's attacking the neighbors and attacking people, anytime you get close to this one dog, it'll bite the hell out of you. You train that dog the best you can. And if it's not trainable, you got to put it down. There's big wide open spaces. You can't take it into the ASPCA. A 3-year-old dog that bites everything. I don't think the ASPCA even wants the dog. So they get it. They euthanize the dog. So they put it in a vacuum chamber and suck out all the oxygen. Out in the farm, just shoot the dog. Well, Christy Nome shot a dog 20 years ago, and now this story is surfaced in one of her own books, for God's sakes. You'd think her editor would have said, "You know what, you ought to pull this story." He goes, "America is a bunch of dog lovers. You shot a dog. You got to go explain why you did it, Anyway, so that might kill her chances of being a Trump VP candidate. Trump needs to pick a VP. That's the issue here. And Things are heating up with this presidential race stuff, presidential race business. Democrats are trying to keep him in court. His popularity keeps increasing. This is everything is so backwards now. Oh boy. If the election were held today, I'm afraid old Biden would be a one-term president. But we got 6 months to go. 180 days, I think. I think it's 180 days exactly from today. It was 181 days yesterday. It's 180 days today. I think you can do it on your calculator app. Here's bullets. This is a 5.728. 5.7 by 28. That's what they call this bullet. A little skinny little thing. The diameter is about the diameter of a pencil, and it's 28 millimeters long. But it comes out of the muzzle out of a 16-inch barrel at about 2,800 feet per second. That's 2 times the speed of sound. That's more than 2 times the speed of sound. Woo. So that bullet's screaming out of there. This big bullet goes around 3,000 feet per second. This little one here with the blue tip goes 2,400 feet per second. It's a smaller bullet, smaller everything. The way you shoot it, there's hardly any kick to it. There's no kick. It's a little more than half that of a 9mm, which is not much kick. Makes a lot of noise, but not much kick. Here's a CMMG. CMMG is a popular rifle manufacturing concern, I think in Missouri. And it's an AR looking, but it shoots that 5.7 by 28. Little tiny little skinny bullet. 40 grams. And it comes out of the muzzle at 2,400 feet per second, which is really, really fast. Bullet drop is real narrow because it's traveling so fast. And because it's so skinny, traveling so fast, it can go through level 3 armor. So if someone's coming at you and they got a armor on, body armor, it'll go right through the body armor and kill the person that's running at you. So it's it's personal safety item. It's not a big hunting. You wouldn't be a hunting rifle. You don't have enough. I mean, you'd have to shoot the beast 4 or 5 times, probably, to stop a bear. You wouldn't bear hunt, but you bear hunt with this big bullet. So instead of, so bam, one big shot with that guy, put the bear down. Where with this little one, you probably have to shoot it 5 or 6 times and put it down. That bear would be hopping around. I'm not I had one shot at deer hunting with my father. Real fast story. And I had that. We were on a 6-day. We had a 1 week vacation. Yeah, to me it was like torture. But I had to go. Yeah, I'm 14 years old. You got to prove yourself to be a man. Prove yourself to be a man. Shoot the beast. Well, we went deer hunting. Well, so I was verifying my manhood, so to speak. You're like crawling around and rainy, cold, sitting around the campsite, burning, just, I mean, I don't like any part of this. Yeah. My idea of camping is on the 4th level of a Holiday Inn with a 42-inch flat screen TV. That's my idea of camping. And the Holiday Inn that's next to the KOA grounds. That's where I want to be. On the 4th level, overlooking the campsites. But I want at least a 42-inch, flat screen TV. And air conditioning and a shower and everything like that. Being out there in the mud and the weeds and the bugs and the dirt, the rain, the mud. Oh yeah. Shake off that mud. Anyway, so the last day we're hunting. Got my 300 Savage rifle with a telescopic sight on it. And wouldn't you know, I get a deer in my sights. It's got nice big antlers on it. So it passed the state of New York. We got these signs. I'm a hunter. You get your hunting license on your back. It's in this big thing. So any patrol, they can see you're licensed hunter. Oh boy. Big red sign on your back. The size of this clock here. And the size is this size. It's like a sheet of paper folded in half. It's red. Anyway, it's got all the printing on there. It says you paid your fee, your hunting permit. Anyway, so we got our hunting vest on. It's cold, 42 degrees. It's raining, sort of. And lo and behold, I got this mature female deer right in front of me. 100 yards out. I see it's in my sight. I look back at my father and I said, "That's fun, I can shoot, right?" He said, "Yep." So I get it all lined up. And my father says, "Shoot." You can't scream at me because then the deer would run. So he's telling me to shoot. He's using as much muscle in his voice as he can and not scare the deer away. Shoot, goddammit. I think I heard one of those. I looked back. I said, "I can't do it." So I put my barrel of my gun down, the barrel up, hold it close to me. So I can't do it. So if my father got out his rifle, that would scare the deer away. So there was a little shuffling around because I wouldn't shoot. I don't remember what all that was. I just know I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't imagine me killing this attractive-looking beast. A female deer with the big antlers. I mean, oh my God. My father could see stuffing that head, putting it in a trophy room of some sort. Couldn't do it. I'm the only one. The whole trip, I was the only one that actually had something in its sights. Forget whether he actually hit the beast or missed the beast, the deer. I couldn't do it. I just, now we were gonna skin it and eat it, and put the steaks in the cooler and eat the meat. Deer meat. It's all right. It's like eating big lamb chops. Deer meat has a little bit of a different taste than beef. They're vegetarians, so the food chain is proper eating a deer. So it's like eating the difference between cow meat, horse meat, and deer meat. It's all, when you get used to eating beef, which is eating cows, essentially, different parts of the cow. Deer's has a slightly different flavor. It's almost like eating a lamb chop. A lamb chop has a slightly different flavor. So you're eating sheep. Anyway, so, my father was a good hunter, experienced hunter. And we were going to do everything. We were going to eat every part of that deer that you normally eat. Save the head and the antlers, or stuffing, for the taxidermist. And carve out all the steaks. Clean the animal first, which means getting rid of all the insides. And then you go through all the muscles. Cut them off, great steaks. Couldn't shoot it. Couldn't do it. Oh, he's going to teach me all how to do that. And there was 4 of us. I forget who the other 2 were. I think it was one of my father's friends and his kid. I think that's how it was. And I don't remember who that was. I was too focused on this whole trip and how I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to carry on with their conversations. I didn't want anything to do with it, but I had to go. I was intimidated into going. I was invited. I go to my mother and I said, can I call in sick? I didn't use those words when I was 14, but I wanted to call in sick. I didn't want to have to do that. Well, I had to do it. Because my mother couldn't figure out a way for me to get out of it. And she knew I didn't want to go. But, those things you do with your dad, I had a gun with a sight like that. See it right there, that Leopold sight? It's one of the best sights made in America, actually. Leopold. With a gun just like that, bolt action, high caliber. I think it was calibered 300 Savage, which is a big game hunting rifle. Not semi-automatic. You had the bolt action. I think it had a tube, so clip underneath. So when you open up the bolt and ejected the spent shell, the live round would come up, and then when you push the bolt forward again, the live round would be chambered, and you'd be ready for the next shot. This is semi-automatic. You pull back on these two little tongs back here at the very bottom. Pull it back and let it forward, and it loads a fresh piece of ammunition in there. And then you got a hot rifle. If it's cold, that means there's no live round in there. There you go. University of Texas, Columbia University, New York City. Both of them. This is like a orchestrated, university attack from the anti-sentiment of the Jews, the Jew haters, anti-Semitic. We hate the Jews. We don't only hate the Jews, we want them dead. That's what these guys are screaming all over the campuses of all the prestigious universities in the United States, all simultaneously. There's Austin, Texas. There's Columbia University, New York City. MIT had the same thing going on. This is just a few of the newsies that I picked up yesterday at 3:55 p.m. yesterday. Yep, and poor Jewish students, they can't get to their classes. They can't get to their study halls because this is an exam week. I don't know what they're canceling that or what. They've already canceled graduation. Can you imagine? These places cost $90,000 a year to send their kids. They go to school for 4 years. That's $360,000. And now graduation has been canceled. The valedictorian of the school that was going to give a speech, her speech has been canceled. There's no graduation. Now the kids will get their diplomas, but they're not going to walk in front and they get their diploma and they stand up on the stage, as they quietly walk in front of all the faculty who, the faculty knows who these students are. They've been teaching these kids for 4 years. My joke faculty at FAU, I knew the drill. Well, I graduated myself. They canceled graduation. I want a refund check, What kind of crap is this? Spent $490,000. I don't know, suppose you want to hear James Carville. Can I see what happens if we play it? I think I have to stop. I can stop this. Can we hear James Carville? Where's the volume? We have to play this back. Let's do this.
Right now, in this election, they're going to be involved in your life for the rest of your freaking life. That's all right, you little 26-year-old. You don't feel like the election's important to me. They're not interested in the issues that I care about.
I mean, really mocking them. And, over the weekend, this big, growing battle between the New York Times and President Biden as well. I mean, what do you think these entities...
Okay. Anyway, that's... Oh, boy. All right, so we're going to say nighty-night. Been on the air for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's time to have time to get lunch ready a little bit. Got some things to do. And I hope you have a nice lunch and afternoon. You can hear Epidemic. I'll put the sound up so you can hear it, live and in color. Let's remind us what day of the week